The recall has millions of people calling or running to their veterinarians. And in Texas, millions of pet owners get excellent care for their pets from their veterinarians. But what happens if a bad vet accidentally kills your dog or cat? Well, according to some folks, not much. Tracy Rowlett has the story you'll see only on CBS 11.
Meet the Munsons. Greg, Cindy, Ditto, Renee, and Tempe.
My wife and I don't have kids, so our dogs are basically our kids.
But there will always be an empty place in their hearts for Stimpy, who they say was killed by a bad vet in September 2005.
Well, Stimpy was our Shih Tzu, and he was a very special dog to my wife and myself.
The Munsons took Stimpy to their vet to have kidney stones removed, but they say instead the vet performed an unauthorized procedure.
He had the operation on a Tuesday. He died on a Friday morning.
The Munsons filed a complaint with the State Board of Veterinary Medical Examiners, but got nowhere.
We were not allowed to speak with an investigator, even though the board states that they had called my wife and had interviewed my wife, which they had not.
Calypso is the black one here.
All Jack Wolfson has now are pictures of his prized Afghan hound, Calypso.
If I could get her back, I would give up my house and all my worldly possessions just to have her back.
Wolfson took Calypso to the vet to have a tumor removed from her liver. After the surgery, he knew something had gone badly wrong.
There's no reason her lung would have collapsed from the liver surgery.
And then he got the call he says he'll never forget.
And she said, "I'm sorry to tell you, Calypso died. Did you want her cremated?" There's not one day of my life that I don't think about her, and that I know that she would still be with me to this day if things had gone right, had I taken her to a good place.
Wolfson complained to the state board. Last year, the vet board received 212 complaints from pet owners about the care received from their vet. After a written complaint, an investigator was assigned, and the board staff works to resolve the issue.
You kind of look at the situation and say, well, would I have done that same thing or a similar thing?
Dallas vet Janie Carpenter is one of 6 vets who sit on the board. There are also 3 citizen members. But records indicate few vets are actually disciplined for malpractice. In fact, of those 212 complaints last year, only 17 vets were disciplined. And 2 months after Jack Wolfson filed his complaint,
they said there was nothing they did whatsoever wrong, and there was no case.
And Greg and Cindy Munson received a similar response.
It's really geared towards protecting the veterinarian, but I don't feel like we side with anyone. We are there to protect the public.
But there are those who disagree. And tomorrow night we'll take a look at efforts to make bad vets accountable. I'm Tracy Rowlett, CBS 11 News.
Last year, the Texas Board of Veterinary Medical Examiners considered 212 complaints and disciplined only 17 vets. And that's prompting calls for reform in how the board does business. CBS 11's Tracy Rowlett has details.
Alrighty. What if your vet makes a mistake and kills your pet? Texan Judy Catalano says a bad vet killed her cat, so she started this website, the Veterinary Abuse Network, when the State Board of Veterinary Medical Examiners would not listen to her.
It can be difficult to get accountability when you have doctors policing doctors.
Fort Worth lawyer Philip Gregory agrees.
You need to have a veterinary board that is willing to actually listen to the consumer.
Pet owners can speak before the board, but in practice, they can only talk with board investigators.
There is an informal hearing that the veterinarian can come in and then the client, and they sit them at a table and just discuss the issue.
Greg and Cindy Munson say a bad vet killed their Shih Tzu, Stampy. They say the state board then dismissed their case.
We've never got to speak to a vet on the board about this. We've only got to speak to the director of enforcement, who's not a vet.
You wish you could present your case to the board so that it could be evaluated by medical professionals, but it doesn't always get to that point.
Through her website, Catalano campaigns for reform in state laws regulating veterinarians. Greg Munson says his efforts resulted in one change.
Now the veterinarian must submit the medical records before they can see the copy of the complaint.
Calypso was my lifeblood.
Calypso died of a punctured lung. Owner Jack Wolfson complained about his vet to the state board, and it dismissed his case.
I think that the board needs to be relooked at.
Despite the board's dismissal, Wolfson sued and won a $12,000 judgment against the clinic, but not the vet. In Texas, pets are considered property. Unless your pet generates the income of a canine movie star, you're not going to realize much in damages.
They knew they were destroying her.
An exception is Mark Bluestone. He claimed his dog Shane was given unnecessary medications and radiation that killed her. He sued his vet. A California jury awarded him $39,000. Jack Wolfson expects to see changes in the Texas court procedures.
And I think then in the future they may listen to people like me, and they will look actually at the evidence. They won't just be pals down there.
Despite that criticism, Carpenter defends the board.
We are there to protect the public, be it how a veterinarian practice or someone who is practicing without a veterinary license.
But for Greg Munson, his efforts for reform are personal.
We owe it to Stimpy to keep fighting. We owe it to the other animals of Texas to keep fighting.
Whatever reforms may come about, one thing is clear: the number of pet owners in Texas is increasing, and with that comes a greater expectation of the care our pets receive. I'm Tracy Rowlett, CBS 11 News.